Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm here with Brian and Peter from Refresh Miami. Hi, Brian. Hi, Peter. How's it going?
Good, good.
So I just wanted to talk to you today about Refresh and technology in Miami and kind of how you got started.
Okay, so I'm Brian. So Refresh started almost about 7 years ago this month, and it's a grassroots technology networking group. And so we started off 7 years ago. We had 4 or 5 people in a Starbucks, and ever since then we've grown and grown and grown. And the goal of Refresh is to bring people together to talk about technology and to talk about entrepreneurship and startups and how does technology interface with these different startups. And now we average 300 plus people a month, and we do an event every month. And anything you want to add to that?
No, it's just over the last couple of years, you've really seen sort of a huge growth in sort of where we were and where we are now as far as turnout. The community as a whole is pretty much at that critical mass point where we have sort of a lot of things sprouting up because of it.
So how has the tech scene here changed over the past 7 years?
So 7 years ago, when we started Refresh, there was no tech scene. It was basically if you worked in enterprise for Microsoft or Citrix or Motorola or whoever the other big players were at the time, you networked with each other, and through the Chamber of Commerce and things like that. But there was no grassroots, there was no startup culture here. And over the last 2-3 years, especially, there's been a sort of a renaissance in Miami as far as emergence of a lot of new companies and also a lot more investment money coming into the area. And there's also been more coverage, right, in the media and stuff like that.
We've sort of kind of picked up as far as coverage as well. I mean, we're covered often on the news, newspaper, and as far as like investments are concerned, a lot of companies in South Florida have been receiving, good seed money, good Series A, and we actually have, the sort of our all-star companies that have raised 12 to 50 million to get their businesses sort of to that next level.
What do you think drove that change?
So I think a large portion of this is related to the collapse of the real estate market.
Okay.
And so Miami's traditionally been a real estate and tourism industry town. And so after around 2008, 2009, when the real estate market sort of bottomed out, I think a lot of these wealthy individuals who had already cashed out or gotten their money out of real estate were looking for alternate venues.
Investment vehicles, right?
And I guess they were more tolerant of risk at this point. They'd seen the growth in VC and angel investment in California and New York and Boston. And so I think there's more appetite for risk now.
Right.
And there's also more understanding of web and software and technology and stuff like that now than there was 7 years ago.
Right, because I think it's become more mainstream where a lot of investors are looking at this as an attractive option to get good returns.
Right.
Yeah, I think sort of that what works really well down here is angel groups, angel groups, because it sort of diversifies their risk. It minimizes their risk by diversifying into several startups. So traditionally, when you see South Florida startups get funded for their seed and Series A, it's either through like a super angel group or through an angel group to kind of get them the first 500 or $1 million to get 500,000 or $1 million.
So what do you do for companies who are looking to start and launch and get funding down here? If I'm an entrepreneur and I come to Miami, kind of what are the hot spots or the local knowledge of kind of how to navigate the town as an entrepreneur?
I think I'm going to let Peter take over.
Well, I mean, there's I think the first thing anybody has to do when they move into a new city and they want to get involved is to get involved. And so there are a lot of organizations out there like Refresh, Android Group, iOS Group, Lean Startup Group, amongst others, that kind of get your feet wet and sort of immerse you in the culture. And then there's other places, and then as far as like when you're ready to take it to the next level, you need a place to work out if you need the acceleration. You've got places like Incubate Miami, the Venture Hive. You've got co-working spaces with new specializations in startups like the Lab Miami, amongst others. So, I mean, I think the first step would be immerse yourself in the culture, learn about the communities, get involved, and then, you know, from there you'll see all the available opportunities available to you when you want to grow your business.
Okay. Well, that sounds like great advice for entrepreneurs. In terms of the funding landscape, you had mentioned a lot about angel investors. Any recommendations for entrepreneurs here looking for?
Well, I think with any fundraising, the first thing is friendship raising. So being involved in the community and having people understand who you are and where you're coming from will help you, you know, secure those angel rounds, because they do attend our meetups, they do attend other meetups, and so being involved in the community does put you at a better position to when you're ready to close. As far as getting you ready, as far as like being able to pitch and being able to kind of explain your business better, you know, there are workshops throughout the city. I mean, workshops that are held annually, or I mean, frequently.
Frequently, okay.
And those workshops are generally free or at nominal cost.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can really recommend any single investor, because then that would be unfair to the other investors.
Right.
You know, but I mean, a lot of it's just doing the initial legwork. And all these entrepreneurs have to be proactive. They can't expect all this stuff to come to them.
Right.
It's not the same as in California, where you can be sitting in a cafe and say, "Oh, I need money for my social network for, you know, baboons."
Right. Because baboons need to network.
Right,
it's very
course,
important
of
now.
course.
The serendipitous
They've caught
factor.
on.
We don't have the concentration to have the serendipitous factor happen in public places as often as you'd
Right.
like. And so being involved with the community sort of allows for that. There are places up and coming like the Wynwood area and downtown and a few others that are sort of becoming sort of concentration points, but they're still not there yet where you can just go in a cafe and meet some potential investor or potential founder. So really the value comes in the groups themselves to be able to immerse yourself with a variety of people.
So in terms of the concentration of technology talent here, what is that like? Because I know in California they have a lot of tech companies, and naturally I think that would give you an outgrowth of having a lot of tech talent. But what are the market drivers here for attracting that type of talent initially?
So I think that's an interesting question, because Miami.
That's why I asked it.
I think Miami actually produces a lot of talent on the technical level in the universities.
Okay.
So Florida International University is probably the largest regional computer science program in the area and within the southeast, and it's one of the top in the country as far as volume of students that it's producing. But there's also a lot of enterprises here that have big staff. So Citrix has, I think, 5,000 engineers. Microsoft has 1,000 engineers. So there's a bunch of these different companies that are here. They're just traditional cubicle style, like
Right.
so you don't have as much of a talent pool readily accessible in the startup scene, and it's tougher for the startups to compete for this talent with the existing enterprises. But conversely, you look at California, people are competing with Facebook and Google and all that for talent.
Right.
That's a sort of an uphill battle where you have to pay hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per engineer. Whereas here the cost of employing people is much lower.
Right.
So from a competitive standpoint, I would say that it makes sense for companies to be based here, because they can hire much more cheaply, more affordably rather, and they're not competing with as many big names as in California.
The weather's nice too.
And the weather's nice.
As far as
and we have no state income tax.
that's true.
There you go. So that's even great.
That's
Go
like-
Miami.
that's
no
like
tax,
12%
perfect
for
weather.
free,
Yeah.
I think what the founder of .code says that we have a lot of engineering talent. It's just temporarily displaced because there's so much graduating talent. Like we have so many graduating engineers who are taking jobs outside the state.
Right.
You know, we just have to create a better environment for them to come back to.
Right. And I think the scene here is definitely changing. What do you guys think it's going to be like in the next 7 years?
Honestly, if the last year and a half is an indicator, we're going to be it's going to be an explosive sort of exponential growth in the next couple months because of the programs and available funding options that have become available in the last year or
Right.
so. Or groups like us who have been able to provide better and better programming to the community and allowing them to sort of like grow their businesses that way as well.
So how did you both connect initially?
So when I started Refresh, it was basically me running the show for many years.
Okay.
And with the volunteers here and there. And then Peter, we met each other through Refresh. Peter was an early attendee and was actively involved in the community. And over the years grew more and more involved.
Okay.
Until now he's one of the board members of Refresh. So Refresh now is a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
And so we set it up as a nonprofit because we have a bunch of other plans as far as giving back to the community and offering programming and educational programs for the community.
Oh, okay. So is it for entrepreneurs?
Entrepreneurs and
Okay.
technologists is how we like to think of it.
Okay. So for somebody who wants to start a bakery or something like that, are you?
I don't think we're the best fit for
Okay,
that. There's
got
something
ya.
like this SBA
Right.
or other types of entrepreneurial programs.
Okay.
So the program that Peter works with at the University of Miami is open to all students and alumni of the university, no matter
Right.
what their business is.
And that's
The
Launchpad.
Launchpad,
Right.
That's
yes.
Launchpad, right?
Launchpad's a unique program that has been replicated to other schools. We're in 2 schools in Detroit, 4 in Cleveland, and we have other schools opening up soon
Okay.
through a Blackstone grant. And it's a program that freely gives, it's a service that helps students and alumni start businesses. And we've been rated one of the top 10 programs by Inc. magazine 2 years in a row, and we're pretty happy with the success we've had with it. And as far as like your question to whether a bakery would come to our event, it's true that they probably won't gain as much, but events like our next one, which is like Lean Startup, a lot of the fundamentals of the Lean Startup, whether that's for a technology business or a traditional business, would apply.
Right,
And
because they're
so-
transferable skills.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's up to them to sort of see what the skill sets are to transfer to their business, but we do try to stay focused on technology.
Yeah, and we tend to focus also more in technology just because that's our background.
Right.
You know, and that's what was interesting to us originally.
Right.
You know, and Refresh came out of there was a lack of options for geeks to meet other geeks, so to speak, or and there was nowhere for people to talk about technology and
Right.
startups and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a little self-serving, but I mean, all organizations are, I guess, you know, and all. I mean, they all start from trying to solve a problem. This is
Right.
the problem that we had. You know.
And sometimes it's best when you're trying to solve a problem that's personal to you.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
I think it makes you that much more passionate about finding a solution.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, no
today.
problem. Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Stephanie McLean, and see you next time.